Good morning, good morning, good morning. Sorta. It's a brunchish time of day. And welcome. This is the Bev D Show. I am Bev. I've been on the show, off the show, stopping, restarting, under construction, internally, mentally, and physically. We've been redoing the studio. So I'm really excited to be back, and this should be a lot more regular. I plan to get back to my dailies, and just welcome. I want to thank everybody for your emails and your messages and things like that. I did notice that we have picked up in several countries, and I'm pretty darn excited about that. So you never know who you're going to be reached by these amazing podcasts. Everybody's doing a podcast. Anybody who has a voice, a phone, whatever, you can do a podcast. But I, it's just been quite the journey, and I will get into a lot of that. But today I'm really excited about the show because we have Todd back, and we used to do a regular little bit on every single Tuesday. It was called Tuesdays with Todd. And the last time I saw him, I said, whatever day is good for you to join me, we could do Thursdays, and then it could be like Thursdays with Todd. But that is not intentional. This is just a great timing for both of us. Todd is my nephew. But if I didn't know this guy as family, I would certainly be following him just as a human being. We're going to get into a lot of that and what Todd's experience and what he's been through and all that good stuff. He has quite a story. Again, Tuesdays with Todd, there's some of that, that's already been recorded in some of my past shows. I went out there today. I have 107 episodes, or shows, or whatever you want to call them. But he's a very special human being. We're going to get into what marks this day as being very special to him and the universe. And I guess I'm just going to dive in without further ado. Welcome back, Todd.
Hello.
Hello there.
How are you?
I'm good. I know that you are agreeing to this, and when I did, I had no idea it would be a very special anniversary for you. Can you share with the listeners a little bit about what this day means, and a little intro to who you are and what's been going on and what happened a few years ago today?
Well, it was kind of neat how it worked out because, like I said, we spoke at the Celebration of Life thing.
Yep.
And talked about doing it, and then you hit me up out of the blue, and you were just like, I honestly didn't even look at the date. You were just said, Thursday good for you, and I was like, yeah, and it was kind of nice because some other things had transpired. Just this week alone, a really good friend of mine, her whole family, everything, but she had a type of neck fusion done. She used to get really, really bad numbness and pain in her arms and her hands and stuff, and so she had this procedure done on her neck. Well, it damaged her vocal cord really bad, and it actually paralyzed part of it. And so she went in for this routine surgery to repair it, and man, it just went awry. She had nothing but complications within 5 days. Her throat was swelling shut and her esophagus, and she couldn't breathe. And so they had taken her husband Josh. They're just amazing people. You just have to meet them someday. But they have an 11-year-old son, and he had taken her to the emergency room, and they gave her some steroids and a couple other things, sent her home. Well, within it was less than 24 hours. He had to rush her back, and they had to put her in ICU because she could not breathe at all. But
oh my gosh.
The reason I say this is because I knew how important it was to me in the sense when it happened, what little things mean to us, how important, let alone just a smile from somebody, but let alone, so one of my best friends in the whole wide world, her and I got together, and we ran around and hit up all her friends, and she actually made a private Facebook thing, and we gathered up letters and pictures and stuff, and just goofy memorabilia and stuff, just to lift her spirits. And then took it down, especially with everything going on, it's not like we could go and visit her,
Ugh.
So
hate that part.
And dropped this off. Pardon me?
I said I hate that part. You can't go visit somebody.
It's awful. And we're obviously in a really tough time. But we come up with this little game plan, and she was allowed to have actually one person was allowed in the room before 8 o'clock. So we were like rushing around. We had this whole little adventure, and it was off the cuff, and it was we're running around, we're buying cards, and we're getting pictures printed at Walmart and CVS Pharmacy, and it's the middle of the day during the week, and most people are at work, so we're shooting at different people's work and picking this stuff up, but it was fun because it was heartfelt. It was not only did we get to spend time with each other, but we got to get this whole thing put together just to make somebody smile for a minute.
Yep.
And the reason I said that, I went through 4 years ago today, went to work just like any other day, just like my post said. And the next thing you know, I'm 40 feet in the bottom of a pitch black hole. I had fallen at work. I'm a union iron worker, and I had fallen, and gosh, I broke everything. Your whole world slipped upside down.
Yeah.
And when things like this happen, you're scared of the what now?
Yeah.
Like what's going to happen? You have no.
Well, and the main thing about that, if I can interject, I would imagine the main thing about that, if you had any wits about you at the time or how alert you were, is the rest of what's about to happen to you is in someone else's hands. That's what hit me when I read your testimony this morning, and that you saw your mom and you said, I'm okay, because you always wanted her to know you were okay. And she said, no, you're not. And I got chills just now talking about it again.
Oh yeah, she was. She turned gray, like a different color, kind of. Then right then, I'm like, all right. And then next thing I know, I woke up. 10 days later, I had 10 major surgeries in a row. Long story short, I spent 6 weeks in ICU. I had 29 broken bones. I had multiple compound fractures. I blew my elbows out of the back of my arms. My femur was broken in half, my hip, everything. And, but it began a whole different type of journey. Like I said, even in the post, I wouldn't take it back for anything because of what I gained from it. Mm-hmm. At the time, I'm in recovery. I'm a recovering alcoholic. At the time, I had been sober for a little over 2 years. And I was angry. In my head at that time, my thinking was, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm being a better person. And this happens. Why would you do this to me? That was and I got angry. And I got full of hate. Mm-hmm. And I was very spiteful and nasty. And I should have I might even edit it and put it on there. I should have put the picture up of the, the nurses board, the dry erase board that they put the nurse's name, your information, stuff like that. Yep. Mine says ornery as shit on it. That's what the nurse wrote on it.
Well, and that's I I knew someone once who had breast cancer. She has since passed away. She was very near and dear to my heart. It is what you would call my ex-mother-in-law, and she had 21 lymph nodes taken out. And she said, the doctors are wrong. I'll do what they say, but I don't have breast cancer. And she went through all of the, all of the treatments, all of the radio, all of it. Lost her beautiful hair. It all came back, but she has since passed away from other things. But I will never forget it. I believe it was her feistiness that fought it best. That she and that's how she was. You've got that they're wrong, but even though they're wrong, I'll do what they say. And she just had this kind of, like you said, ornery attitude to where I'm going to get through this. Of course I'm going to get through this. And I think that pissed offedness, new word, but I think that really helped her. And I can't help but think, and good Lord, Todd, I have no idea how, and I've been very blessed. I have no idea how the brain can take over and take care of you like that. It really was like buffering you and taking care of you, in my humble opinion.
You're absolutely right, because your mindset, everything changes, but on the same token, we have no idea what to do when something like this happens to you.
We didn't receive the training.
You can sit there and encourage somebody, and you can say, it'll get better if you do this, whatever it may be, whatever situation it may be. But until you experience it, because even being in ICU, because I'm very, very high-strung and very active, I still am. I still haven't grown up. I still, the choke wide open. And the next thing you know, I am locked down in this bed. I can't move, like nothing, anything.
I know. I saw some of those
ceiling,
pictures.
Bricks on the wall. I'm listening to how many beefs the machine makes every, all these things. And because my mind was just racing.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do with it. I had no idea. Then you sit there, and in the moments, you literally go, this is never going to end. This is never going to end. This is how I am. But it's not true. It's that false sense of self. It's that negativity just trying to feed on you. But like I said,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you're bringing up a moment, and I want you to tie this in for me and for the listeners, because I know it's going to sound really like a little bit hokey for me to ask something like this, but I appreciate what you're saying about, you're listening to the monitors and you're listening to that. But did any of those close to death or close to life bridging experiences happen to where, kind of, maybe it was, the medicine that they had you on? I don't know. I can't, again, I am trying to better understand, although I would never want any disrespect to you as to what may have happened, but you know how some people can fade in and out. I mean, did you see? I can't help it but think, your dad, my brother, who had already passed away, wasn't behind some of this, and I just can't, and I want to believe that, and I'm going to believe that. So I've convinced myself. Did you have any connections with my mom, my dad? Your dad, the folks that had passed on before us, while you were listening and meditating in a sort of a way? Can you share that? I'm so curious, and I know that all the times that you've been on the show, I don't think I asked that, and I'm very, very curious about the afterlife, the continued life. I know your mom never